Hey everybody, it is Saturday night. I told you I will be back for Rewiring Hope, a live-a-thon for the Heal Your Way Forward Collective. I've been live every day since the last day of 2026. And here we go. Here we are. Super grateful to be here with you all this evening and looking forward to what's possible, what's to come, and how we just keep on showing up. I don't know who's watching this live. I don't know who's watching the replay. All I can tell y'all is thank you for watching. As you can see, it is after dark, so I am relaxed, comfortable, and ready to keep on keeping on. Thank you so much for watching on Instagram, Substack, Facebook, YouTube. We are here and we will keep on keeping on. So, how is your day going today? What's something positive that happened today? I know there's a lot going on, especially with the United States. Um, the United States going into another country and not minding its business. I know that's on the top of everybody's mind. And I just want to remind everyone that there's is history repeating itself. We've seen this in multiple struggles of towards liberation. And if you never knew that this place was a terrorist organization, it is. If you weren't believing the history books, you are now living through the history books. And so you have a choice in this moment, right? Because we are actually living history in real time. And you have a choice to believe it. And you also have a choice to regulate your nervous system because you can also hold your power by owning your nervous system and not allowing your nervous system to be hijacked by the breaking news. Sit with your discomfort, but also be present to what is. I also want to let y'all know that we are at still 6% of our fundraising goal. The goal is to get to 25, 33, I think I said 3,500 by Monday. We're very close. We're very, 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 very close. So if you're watching this live or the replay, the link to give is located in on the website. Go to healyourwayforward.org and or you can go ahead and check the description in YouTube. Hey Jess, thank you so much for being here. I'm grateful that you are here with us today. Jess, if you want to share this in the collective, that would be great. If not, that's okay. I said I was going to keep on keeping on and looking forward to whoever can join us with this journey. So, for those of you who didn't get the breaking news is that Heal Your Way Forward is a fiscally sponsored nonprofit collective, and we are working to do the work of care, mutual aid, solidarity, and we're actually practicing what it means to be human again, centering mindfulness, neuroscience, and collective liberation. And I'm really, really excited for what's to come with our collective. I'm really excited for the future of the collective. I'm really excited for the unknown. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know that this is going to work out. And I do know that the best is yet to come. Quick reminder for those of you who don't remember, we were deplatformed by Meta from our former account. Check your privilege, and we are now the Heal Your Way Forward Collective. Check your privilege still lives on with us. It was the foundation that took us to the spaciousness of creating consistency, creating strategy, and showing up in spite of, right? That is the goal, to show up in spite of everything that happens for us. And so thank you for being here with us tonight. And I want to just take the time to ask if there's any questions. There is a couple folks watching. Curious if there are any questions on your liberation journey or any questions that you might be wrestling with today as you consider what this day might mean to you and or just what's on your mind. It's really easy for me to just shoot from the hip and just to speak. But I'm very curious about how everybody else is doing and what's on your mind today on this Saturday, January 3rd, 2026. And while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to go ahead and queue up our video for today so that you all can see what I'm seeing. We're going to watch a couple videos together. We're going to just really hang out because that's what we've been doing in this live-a-thon. And it's really important. One of the things that I like to share that I've shared earlier today, that it's humans like you who make this possible. It's humans like you that allow us to move forward in mission, to stay focused, and to really consider what does it mean to be in practice? How do we show up for each other, and what care really means? Hey, Janine, it's good to see you. I see Jess. I see Janine. So grateful that you all are here with me this evening as we keep on going with our Heal Your Way Forward Live-a-thon. The goal is to get to $3,500 by Monday. We are at $2,899. We are so close. Can we get to 35 by Monday? Absolutely, we can, and we will. The goal is to get the whole thing filled. As we will get it. We will get it done. That is what we do know. It is the hope and the possibility and the belief that anything is possible, even in Empire. Like, I think I saw a post by Christabel and another woman that talks about how you can love yourself more than you love Empire. And so much is happening in Empire. And so do we sit here and do we focus on the anger that comes with Empire, especially with what happens today? Or do we care for ourselves? Do we care for our nervous systems? What do we do, right? I think it is very important for us to remember that we are human beings and not human doings, and that like we actually have the ability to love ourselves through anything. I think it's just really breaking free from the mindset that we don't, because I know for sure that anything is possible. And I know for sure that I've come from a lineage of ancestors who have lived through these moments and who have continuously showed up for each other and showed up for ourselves. And so in this iteration of Heal Your Way Forward, I want to show you all a conversation that I had with Tanya Guam. It was called Keeping It Real. Present. This conversation happened with me and Tanya, I believe it was 11 months ago, so almost a year ago, as I was recovering from long COVID and looking for ways to show up and be consistent. And so really excited to share this conversation with you while I go and get on my vibration plate, make sure that my body is moving, and just continue to be a part of the live-a-thon. Again, all your donations are tax deductible, and super grateful for all of you who continues to give generously, who are sharing this with your friends. Everyone's asking, what can I do now? What's the way? We're co-creating it. We're in practice now. The way is practice. The way is no longer consumption. The way is learning to regulate our nervous systems. We are in it, and we have to learn to care for each other. And it comes with practicing being vulnerable, practicing being compassionate, practicing what it means to be whole and human, decentering Empire in our lives, and really showing up for ourselves unapologetically, as Jamal would say. All right, let's go ahead and watch this interview together, and I'll be right back momentarily. Peace. Here it comes. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday, TGIF. Grateful to be here with you all. So far, Tanya, we're live on Instagram and YouTube, and eventually, here you go on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So say hello to the collective, Tanya.
Hi, everybody.
All right. Well, today, y'all, we just have another Keeping It Real conversations. Two friends just chatting and chopping it up. So really excited to be here with my friend Tanya. We've been co-conspiring for a couple of years now. Tanya, why don't you kick us off? Like how do we meet?
I love how we met. So we met after a few years of me admiring your work and really enjoying the way that you engaged in comments with not just me, but everyone. And I really wanted to meet you. So I booked a consultation with you to say hello.
That's what
have
it was.
A little one-on-one. And it was like, honestly, some of the best money ever spent. And I worth every penny, and it's just been a gift that keeps on giving. And I knew I was following my intuition properly about you and with you, because I was a bit nervous to meet you. Mm-hmm. And so I was listening to my grounding song, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, Otis Redding. And I told you that. Yeah. And you put it on. And then it was just like a really good playlist. And we just grooved through our whole conversation. It was great.
Yeah. I remember, like, you're like, oh my God. And I'm like, what's wrong? Are you okay? And then we just went to Spotify and we just listened, and it was a really great conversation. And now here we are a couple years later. I feel like that was a couple years ago.
I think it was. It was. So I'm very happy to be having this. I feel like we've been having this conversation, and I'm so happy to be sharing this conversation we've been having with more people.
Yeah, we've been like, so for these last couple of years, y'all, we've been talking about narcissism, but you gave me some new language around the narcissist industrial complex. Yeah?
Well, I am now calling it the narcissistic abuse industrial complex. Like many of us are familiar with like the mental health industrial complex.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I didn't make anything up. You know what I mean? I'm just drawing from this, that, and everything that I'm sort of regurgitating and connecting dots, really, right? And so when that language kind of came into my purview, I started going, oh, that's what's happening with the whole narcissistic abuse recovery industry.
Yeah.
And it's an industrial complex. To me, it's become a grift. And like, I want to preface everything that comes after in this conversation by saying, I know I'm going to say some things that are going to maybe upset some people or, and I want to say to that, if anyone wants to have like a real conversation with me or really like, not just to get mad at me, but like if somebody has a genuine question or confusion, I'm open. I'm open to that in the future.
Oh, that sounds great. So for those of you who are watching live or the replay, if something comes up and you're unsettled, Tanya says that she's open to talk about it, to chat about it, and to see where the conversation goes. It was in the very first, I think, Check Your Privilege book I ever wrote. There's like 2 versions of it where I actually wrote like, I feel like we're in a narcissistic relationship with America and its systems, and we're all codependents. And like,
yeah,
looking at what's happening today, and that was written like 6 years ago, and looking at what's happening today, I'm like, yeah, this is definitely abuse. Just the way they're throwing everything at us, the threats to pull funding, the backlash. It's like almost like this freeze fawn, just this constant state of gaslighting. I don't know.
I was just gonna say the gaslighting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely giving gaslighting feels.
So look, narcissism is a real thing.
Right.
I have a however that I'll come back to. And narcissistic abuse is a term to me, I mean, it's linguistically intuitive, you know what I mean? But like it feels right. But I'm not so, just to me anyways, it just seems a little redundant because I don't know how anyone can be like behave abusively without some of what people call narcissism, right? So it seems a little bit redundant as a term.
Right.
But I'm not really that stuck on the semantics of it. It's more like, yeah, I get it. Okay, I hear you. Because it encompasses more than physical abuse. It's all the emotional and psychological abuse, which gets really specific. But the reason I've stopped using the term, and I've stopped using the term narcissist for some different reasons as well. Well, mainly because it doesn't mean anything. I don't know what people mean when they say narcissist. Like, what do you mean? But when people say, I stopped referring to the term narcissistic abuse because I don't want to refer people to the books and articles and YouTube and everything that like to the narcissistic abuse industrial complex. Because as soon as you type in narcissistic abuse, it's giving all of this information that's actually really harmful.
Yeah, I want to agree with you there. I think there is something to limiting that word or just like Googling it, because I tell you, the funnel I fell in, I was like, whoa,
Me too.
It like the YouTube people, and like it's like when you say grifty, it's like people are building platforms off of abuse. And for me, there are just some things that you need to do in therapy with someone who has that skill set. And me personally, just because I have the experience in recovery from abuse, like I can go to a peer support group, but I would only feel comfortable if it was facilitated by therapists, just because of the grifting that I've seen in the space. Because I fell down the rabbit hole fast.
Yeah, I would add on to that a therapist who is on a journey of their own as a person and a clinician that encompasses an effort to decolonize
That part.
and their lens on mental health and healing.
Right.
Who isn't freaked out by talking about systemic abuse and the myriad external issues going on that we are all having so many very natural responses to that are often pathologized.
Yeah.
Rather than like, let's look at what's wrong with you and diagnose you and fix you. Because I don't know. I mean, if anybody right now in this moment is feeling dysregulated, rageful, depressed, or other mental health issues that are being exacerbated, triggered, that sounds like a pretty normative experience right now. Like that sounds like actually good mental health. It means that everything's working. It means that your natural responses to horrific things around you is working or are working. So based on what you just said a moment ago.
I'm muted. Go ahead. Keep going.
Well, it's to you. So what you were saying a moment ago about America, about being in a narcissistic abuse, narcissistic abuse relationship with America. I've started reading this book. It is by Tiffany Grayton.
What's it called?
It's called Black American Refugee: Escaping the Narcissism of the American Dream.
Oh wow!
And it's a story. It's like an account of her own experience. But she writes it through the lens of narcissistic abuse. Can you see all that?
Wow! I'm gonna have
Tiffany,
to.
I hope it's okay that I'm sharing this.
Yeah, you have to share. Please share. Hold on, I'm gonna share it so you can see it a little bit bigger. I think I'm able to share the screen. You shared it there. It looks like it's also written by Penguin Random House. So this is the book, friends. It's Black American Refugee: Escaping the Narcissism of the American Dream. That is so, wow. Definitely gonna read it. Definitely a Black History Month read.
So I'm highlighting this book right now because it's the first book I've found that uses this language of narcissistic abuse that's written by a person of the global majority who also really focuses in on on systems, not just on what's like interpersonal, relational abuse and trauma, but on systems,
on a systems level.
Right. And like, even if you look at her, even if you look at like who she's referenced, right? Like the books and the literature she's referenced, none of it is like this person's work on narcissism or this person's work on narcissistic abuse. It's like, the first one in chapter 2, she references Olivia Waxman, a paper, President Trump played a key role in the Central Park 5 case. Here's looking at Black stereotypes as reflected in popular culture. Like, she's saying all the things, but she's not like does that make sense? Like, it's not like in this little sort of like silo of like, let's all just regurgitate the same stuff, the same thing. Narcissistic abuse is this, idealize, devalue, discard, gaslight. And the other thing about like just the language itself, when it comes to narcissism, it's like the term itself was created, the concept, and like putting it in like psychology and you know, pathologizing and diagnostics, it was created by, you know, like cishet white dudes a long time ago. And
it feels like they were creating something based on their own ego.
I mean, probably. I mean, that's probably why they created most things, right? And it was at a time when like they weren't looking at or accepting things like colonialism or white supremacy. So like if you look at colonialism, and colonizing behaviors,
yeah,
and you look at like cis hetero capitalist ableist patriarchal white supremacy behaviors,
yeah,
and culture,
yeah,
that's actually a more accurate
description,
like terms, and it's a more accurate, to me, lens,
yeah,
to look at the behaviors that comprise what we call narcissistic abuse, which we should probably name.
And I think that's why, like, when I started doing a lot of work, like, around addiction and recovery, I was like, wait a minute. This is the same thing. It's all connected to behaviors. It's all like, this is something that is deeper than we even know. Like, you definitely have to recover yourself from the level of abuse from this system. And it is a journey. It is what it is. Yeah. Just a second. Keep talking.
Okay, I'll just say things. So I don't personally think, and I didn't even tell y'all who I am, and I forgot. So I'll just say really quickly, I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist in California, licensed in California. I'm Canadian, so I'm worked in Canada and Toronto for several years before I came here, and I specialize for quite a long time on relational abuse and trauma, and helping people navigate, heal through, recover from abusive, coercive, confusing, and oppressive relationship systems of control, cults, really coercive and controlling family systems.
Oh, wow.
Things like that. And there's so much similarity, like, you know, similar things coming in for people, whether it's one abuser or colonizer who they're leaving, or trying to leave, or trying to just figure out how to navigate if they can't leave.
That's a deep thing, because one of the things I'm thinking about just hearing you talk is this idea of like, okay, so if this larger system of America is a narcissist and we're all codependents, what does that make us with each other? Codependents? Or
so can I push back a little bit?
I'm just wondering. Yeah.
Okay, so this is just me. So to me, codependent behaviors, I don't know if that's something that's necessarily intrinsic in everyone. Like, I think you can show up codependently with this person and not with this person. So, and for some people, it might be deeper and more like, is pervasive the word? No, like more broad with more people. And I say that because sometimes we find ourselves in a relationship with someone where we behave in ways that mirror codependency, but it's for survival. So there's different reasons people please or mask or placate. Sometimes it's to protect like ourselves from being disliked or rejected or that kind of thing, judge. And sometimes it's literally to survive, which could be not get fired, which could be not lose your home or custody of your kids, or not get physically assaulted, or like to keep the person happy with you, like give them that reflection of perfection they need. So
Did you feed Ray?
huh?
Okay. No, keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
So like so I get confused sometimes, like when we're talking about codependency, or I'm in a conversation with us coming up, I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. Like, it's just language, right? Like every word, like one word is going to mean one thing to you and to me, and it's going to be different, and we're going to be a Venn diagram. Like, right? There's some places where we will have a really very bang on, yeah, we mean this, but then there's going to be some stuff over here for you and me that we're not aware of, that we're thinking or associating with the word. So, and codependent is one of those words, and narcissism is 100% one of those words, right? So, like, what do you mean, right? So, like,
so it's, I guess when I think of codependency, it's not knowing where you end and where someone else begins. It shows up in white saviorism. It shows up in the way that white women act around Black women, or all people actually act towards Black folk.
Yep.
So codependency, if you look at white fragility, white fatigue, white shame, I truly believe that any of those white words, white silent, all of that happens because of Black resiliency. So that means that you codepend on my resilience to do your work in liberation. And you're codepending on me, like moving forward and my behaviors. You don't make a move until I make a move. And the best other way I can say this in my experience of liberation work is, here's the example. If I don't say free Palestine every day, that means that I don't believe in a free Palestine, so you can't be in community with me. But I do say free Palestine. And so if you can only depend on me because your relationship with me is dependent on me being always in alignment with your values.
Okay, so can I tell you what comes up for me when you said all of those words that were like boom, boom, boom? Yes. Exploitive, parasitic, in terms of the dependency on you for me to do something, and cult. So I mean,
so then we could say the United States is a cult.
That feels more accurate to me.
But in a cult, you have to codepend on each other for survival. And it's all words, right? Like etymology of words have meaning. I personally think the goal could be for all of us to move from codependence to interdependence. But like, I don't think about things in like textbook definition. Like I wasn't trained as a therapist, but when I look at the definition of codependency and the work that I do and the work that you do, there is the cult of America that is fueled by narcissism that we all depend on to survive. And therefore, some of our behaviors, not all of them, are codependent like behaviors. Not calling everyone, I'm not giving everyone that description, but if I were to like say the behavioral patterns where I begin and where you end, or white fatigue, white silence, white apathy, and white fragility depend on Black resilience.
Yep.
It's something there. Don't have to have the answer today either.
There's more than just something there.
Yeah.
Like there's all the things right there. I guess my pause right now is on the binary, because I feel like the binary is where we get stuck, because then it's like, if I'm one thing, you're the other, but I'm actually both. I'm actually all of it. And maybe we all are, right? So
that's when I say all of us are codependent. What you're saying right now, that's what I'm speaking to. There is no binary. We all are complicit in the system. And so I can wield my power as a Black woman, you can wield your power as a white woman. And we can play a power dynamic that's dependent on how we show up.
Right. And then the other piece that would extend from that, where is that I can even just speak to myself. Like, I'm a white woman. I'm a white woman with a lot of resources, right? So there's power. So I can be on what you're naming is codependent part of things. And I can also be on the narcissistic part of things, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so it's like, so the way that the binaries show up in like the narcissistic abuse industrial complex, which is why I'm like passionately wanting us to sort of embrace the idea of moving away from the language altogether someday, mm-hmm. is because the binary there is narcissist empath. Sometimes it's narcissist codependent, but more often it's narcissist empath. And the narrative being described to people, being taught to people by all those IG accounts, educators, experts, influencers who are using the narcissistic abuse language, they're saying that if I was abused by someone, say a narcissist, then that just by default, that means it's because I'm an empath and it's because of all my empathy for, you know, the abuser. I'm just so empathetic, right?
Yeah.
But the problem here is that they're saying that every individual is intrinsically either narcissistic or non-narcissistic, empathetic or not empathetic, abusive or non-abusive. But that doesn't make any sense, because all the people we're all angry at right now in the world, all the people who voted this way or doing this or doing that, they could also be, and probably are very likely, in abusive relationships with a partner or a spouse or something, or a family member. So like, you can be a victim of abuse.
Oh yeah, it's like the oppressor framework.
Boom, right?
So it's to, I think in that framework, in any of this work, that's why I've lately been saying for at least 2 years, without using a binary, I can be a narcissist, I can show up narcissistic, I can show up codependent. There is no I'm either one or the other. Because right. I'm a product of this system, I can duplicate, I can code switch into any reality that I want, because I was born into this.
And it depends on who we're relating to, right? Yeah. Like the whole NAIC, I'm calling it, they will tell you that the narcissist is going to be really great to all these people over here and then abusive to you. That's one of the ways this can show up. Well, yeah, because over there, they don't have as much privilege and power. But we can all do that. Right. We can all do that. We all take liberties where we can get away with it. And I'll be the first to say, like, I know this about myself. Yeah. And the problem in what survivors, you know, these very vulnerable survivors, often desperate to, you know, get relief from like the pain of all the cognitive dissonance, gaslighting, abuse that they've been experiencing, they're gravitating towards these spaces, and they're not being taught how to look in the mirror. Mm-hmm. Not in a victim blaming, like what you did in that relationship to, like, you know, deserve it or why it happened to you. No, not that. I mean, like, how do we, as a collective, say, of survivors who are understanding something that we're all sharing, how do we heal from what's been done to us, but also heal in a way where we can acknowledge ways that we might actually also be harmful to other people who we're in a different dynamic with?
I think for me, it's always being open and vulnerable in all your relationships. I can cause harm and I will cause harm. I'm not perfect, and we'll work through it. That's the healing. That's the medicine, is being real and vulnerable, like getting to a place of vulnerability in your relationships where you can be honest, like, we're going to harm each other. So how are we going to, how do we come to agreements of how we handle harm? I know that was really good. And here I come with my spiel, but I am hoping that you are taking anything away from Tanya's conversation with me. And I'm curious, for those of you who are still watching and who have been watching, what stands out for you right now, just when it comes to like power dynamics and narcissism and relationships? Big curiosity for those of you who are watching. Curious, what do you think about this? Anybody want to share anything? Taking anything away. Take your time. For those of you who are unsure of what's happening, this is the Heal Your Way Forward Live-a-thon, where we are rewiring for hope. This is our second live-a-thon of the day, just working to raise awareness for our nonprofit collective, and really excited to share the prompt again. Let me put it on the screen so that you can see it. For those of you who have been watching, what stands out from this conversation? Not sure how long you've been watching, but I had the opportunity to work out, get on my vibration plate, and the conversation is the conversation we've been watching with Tanya Guam. Go ahead and show it to you. There you go. What stands out from this conversation? I think watching the conversation for me, it definitely reminds me to be in my body, and definitely like, what does it mean to have reparative, restorative relationships? What does that look like? What is a reparative and or a restorative relationship? What is a relationship where we talk openly about power dynamics and we name our power dynamics in real time? Like, who feels supported in their relationships? Are we talking about power dynamics in our relationships? Or are we just kind of allowing our relationships to just be whatever they are? Because here's the deal right now, in the system that we currently live in, sorry for that echo. In the system that we currently live in, we do need each other, and we will need to find ways to actually resolve conflict, to be courageous with each other, and to be vulnerable with each other. And so if there are no words, just going to give that share again of our screen so we know that we again are here to raise money for our Rewind Hope, our fund for collective healing, to support our staff and our team, to get our work more infrastructure and more sustainable. So this is where we are so far. We're at 6% of our goal, and we know that anything is possible because it is humans like you that allow us to continue our mission and our work with Heal Your Way Forward. If you are watching this on Substack, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on Instagram, we appreciate you and appreciate you participating in this live-a-thon with us and in this conversation. So let's come on and finish up the rest of the conversation with Tanya. Let's get to it.
That's literally, no, sorry, go ahead.
I think that's literally like I think that's literally takes perfectionism, throws it out the way. The fear of failure throws it out the way, because you came up front like, I'm flawed and I'm going to be harmful and I'm not perfect, and please don't expect me to be perfect. I think it's just being upfront and honest. And I think we fear honesty, directness, and like keeping it real with each other, because we really have never had to keep it real.
It's like we've all been in like the Truman Show, so many of us, right? People just sort of placating and people pleasing, but meanwhile we're feeling kind of gaslighted and dysregulated because nobody's like giving us a tangible relationship to like grab onto and go through.
And the people, my people, who have sat here for years, millennia, telling y'all, hey, this country don't care about you. Hey, this is happening. Now we sit back, because my culture, I know how to survive what's coming. If you have ancestors that have survived major worldwide atrocities, the DNA for survival is already in you. And this goes across race and cultures. So when I see people saying stuff on the news, I'll be like, oh, okay. Like, that's my, like, okay, I know what to do. You know what I'm saying? I don't go into fear and panic. I don't want to dysregulate my nervous system for anybody. I already have an autoimmune disorder. But it's just like, to be part of the group who has been telling the collective, hey, y'all, this ain't working and this ain't it, and we need to be relatable and interdependent and build community, and people still don't want to listen, I just got to let it go with love and be like, okay, I'm here when you're ready.
Right. That's one of the gifts of a community like yours, that I'm not just blowing smoke. I'm serious. Like, in your community, we do learn how to sit and tolerate the discomfort, you know, and how to be real with each other. And it's really uncomfortable, but that's being a person. That's being in relationship with someone. And we
don't know how, to your point, we don't know how to do that. We don't know how to relate to each other.
We don't know how to like what I feel like what you're talking about really is like, it's like the opposite of fragility, right? I'm just going to say ego fragility to cover the whole thing, but like, you know, so some people might say white fragility, but it's deeper. It's all the things, right? So and some people would call it the narcissistic wounding, and like the psychoanalytic, it's the same thing. It's basically, you know, when someone, I don't know, calls us in or brings something to our attention or gives us constructive feedback or says, you hurt my feelings or you offended me, like, can we talk? We receive that too often, like an attack on our character as a person. And then we want to defend who we are by explaining who we are, and we go into all of that, or we go to the extreme of Darvo. But what if we were able to see it as like someone actually giving us a gift, like I am in this moment, I am investing in the health of our relationship.
Right.
By telling you something that I need you to be aware of, for us to have peace and harmony. You don't have to agree with me. I just need you to see this. I need, and further than that, I want to know that you see what I see. You might not feel exactly the same about it, but like, can you see it? You know, like this kind of thing. And it needs to be like symbiotic and mutual. But
it's like that mutuality and reciprocity. And it's unfortunate because like someone with like the work that we do in community, it's like you get it so much that you forget how to validate yourself. So like, how do we do that, but then give you the skills as folks in white bodies to validate yourself and your own experiences? Because people do see what you see, right? But like, at what point do we start to trust our guts and like our bodies as solutions to not always going outside of ourselves, but we need that connection, but really like, okay, this is really happening. I feel it. I'm not making it up. And then going to our other friends, like, hey, I noticed this and this is what it feels like in my body. Do you notice this too? Yeah, I can relate. Well, I don't know about my body. Like there's so much, I think as a culture of people, we forget so much of our self-validation is trusting your body and like your body's response to things in real time. Well, for me, it's how you can learn how to like validate yourself. But like, as far as relationships, like it is trust in that messy middle, that like you're in relationships with people who are really going to make you like a better human being in relationship together, even when you fuck up, even when you fail, even when you cause harm.
And we need to be able to pause and just pause long enough and sit with something and not be in our urgency so much, right? Not be so quick to react so that we can respond, because we need a minute sometimes. I know I do. This is something I work on every day. I need a minute. Pause when agitated or unsure.
Yeah.
I need a minute sometimes to know, is my intuition telling me something right now, or am I triggered? And am I maybe gaslighting myself a little bit? Am I sabotaging something a little bit? Am I reading into something? I'm not sure. I'm going to validate my feelings. I know I feel this type of way right now. But is it really because of A, B, and C, or is it because you know, of 1, 2, and 3 that happened many years ago, right?
Right.
And am I confirmation bias? Am I triggered? Because sometimes we can get triggered into a place of like alarm bells, right? Like that amygdala hijack, that survival mode, where it's like, we picture the worst case scenario. We picture what our core belief about something that's not so good. Like I'm unlovable, I'm unworthy, or
I'm unworthy. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares about me. Yep.
I'm unsafe. And then we're going to look for the evidence that that's true with a person, with a group, right? We're going to look for evidence that that's true.
Yeah.
And that's all we're going to see. And that's when we're triggered, right?
Absolutely triggered. I'm out here drinking out of a cup that everybody's talking about we should be boycotting. Somebody's triggered because I just drank out of a cup from an organization that people are supposed to be boycotting. And I'm just here to tell y'all, be disappointed. It's not my job to fix it.
You know what, Maisha?
And that's the being human, complicated, messy part of this work is, and that goes to the codependency. We're going to all do the same thing. And the minute you don't do what everybody else does, it's like you don't belong in the community anymore. You're exiled.
Can I say something very controversial that's going to make people upset?
Yeah.
I think it's more our narcissism that draws us into cults than our codependency.
Oh, say it again? Say it again?
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this because I trust you and I trust this process. I believe that it is our narcissism that draws us into cults more than our codependency. And I don't, and the reason why is because these spaces, they offer us an opportunity to ascend in some way, to be better than someone, to be morally superior, to be seen and perceived as a good person, to be given the keys to the kingdom of the Lord, to be saved or something like the religious stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
To be rich, to
be redeemed,
money, to sell these leggings and have more money than your friends, and you can buy the house.
Oh my God.
But let me redeem this. None of us stood a chance. In the systems that we're in, none of us stood a chance to not internalize these desires.
Nope.
Do you want to start a thing called Check Your Narcissism? No, I'm just joking. But
I don't want to start that. We can use the hash. That's fine. Tried to add myself back to the stage. Again, just checking in for those of you who are watching live or watching the replay. Out of curiosity, how do you like this conversation? Like, what about this conversation is standing out to you? One of the things I'm appreciating is I love watching older videos of myself, because what happens 9 times out of 10 is that I come back to these future moments and I'm like, oh, this is still happening. Like I can it's like an iteration of what's possible. I'm appreciating the nuance of the conversation, and I'm enjoying kind of the witnessing of just two people like being human and just having a real conversation about what matters to them. And so, yeah, if you're watching live or the replay and you have energy, please share. What is this conversation bringing up for you? What are you noticing about it? What's, excuse me, standing out for you? I know it's pretty late. What is it, 10:44? What's up? What's happening? I know there are 2 people watching, or you could just be taking it in. Whew. Anybody? I think one of the things, there's an older comment that Jessica shared about we co-create the future we want to be a part of. Yes, and that future, I think, in relationship to this conversation, is having a better understanding of narcissism and what narcissism might look like in our relationships. Oh, good to see you tonight, Rhonda. You said you're just joined a little late, still getting oriented. Absolutely. It's just a conversation with myself and Tanya Guam talking about the narcissistic industrial complex. So I'm so glad that you're here. Everyone who's here, do me a favor if you have capacity. Go to healyourwayforward.org and just share it on your social media platforms. and let them know that this is your collective and we are raising money this week for for as long as we need to for our collective. I think we'll have a different goal for the week ahead and really excited for what's to come. So thank you, thank you, thank you for watching. And let's just go ahead and get back to the conversation.
And trauma. I see privilege, like someone's proximity to privilege, power, and protection from accountability.
Let me sit with that.
It's okay. Narcissism is there, but like we all have it. It doesn't cause us all to be abusive. It's like what's going to make our narcissism freak flag fly.
I want, like, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, yes, and I'm like, and
yeah, tell me.
And as a woman that's the descendant of enslaved Black folk and indigenous folk, whose body was stolen from land and whose land was stolen from them, I have to sit back and really think about like this, like, it would be easy for me to say, y'all are the narcissist white folks.
So say it.
Right? Because it's like the things that you all have to unlearn almost come innate to me and my being. And so even like, yeah, it's interesting. I don't even have words formed, but there's something about like if patriarchy and white feminism are basically the same thing, and I will die on that hill. It is the same thing.
I'm with you.
Feminism is the same thing as patriarchy. And we know that this was created by these men to assert power with their own egos. It's like they were talking about themselves. And we know historically, we'll just use white women because that's what we use a lot. We know they depended on Black women to caretake for them, not just their children, but their feelings and their emotions. Then I really have to think about, like, in relationship, and I'm only speaking for the Black experience, because that's the only experience. It seems like, yes, friend, colonization and imperialism are like narcissism. And if that's all you know culturally, I am not diagnosing anyone, but it does give me information. So for me, I'm just taking this as like I'm processing in real time, y'all. And this is really good data and information, because for me, then I need to like get them a little bit more clear and like go do some journaling and like challenge what are my judgments and beliefs and assumptions. But there's something to the history of having a Black body in this country and thinking of the idea of narcissism being maladaptive and adaptive. I'm just processing out loud. No, there's nothing more to say.
Can I respond to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt what you were saying. And you're saying something that I don't have the ability to say or feel in order to say it. But it's resonating very hard. So because here's the thing, if we continue to dehumanize everyone who we label narcissistic or a narcissist,
Right.
no one's going to examine their own narcissism that might be causing harm to other people, in a very similar way of like, we need to unpack and recover from our internalized white supremacy, our internalized homophobia, transphobia, or like all of the isms and ias or whatever, obias. We all, well, not we all, but many of us, at least those watching here, probably agree that these are all things that, you know, you don't say I'm not a racist.
Right. Yeah.
If you're a white person, you don't say that. There's an understanding now that we say we're an aspiring anti-racist, or we're right, like we understand that we are moving through and healing and recovering from and navigating and try to mitigate the impacts, the negative impacts of our internalized racism. Like we kind of we're working on accepting that and in that radical acceptance kind of way, so we could heal and mitigate harm to others. We need to be doing that with, we can, I'll use the term narcissism here because y'all know what I'm talking about. It seems it's in the same pot to me as our colonialism, our supremacy, but it's in the same. So like, I want people to come to me and say like, I think I'm struggling with narcissism. I'm defensive all the time when anyone calls me out. My ego is so fragile. I do that Darvo thing that I read about. That's me. Like someone called me a Karen, whatever. I'm invalidating. I devalue those who don't seem to serve me in some way. Like whatever came to be that they thought, they're dealing with some narcissism. Come on in. Let's talk about it. We need to see this as something that like humans experience, not just those people over there.
Yeah, I think it's not just one group of people. It is in all of us, and we all have work to do around it. There's no like measuring stick, right? I hear what you're saying. Like, that's like it used to be. If you had autism, you either had high functioning autism or low functioning autism, and now it's just like a spectrum. But yeah.
And if your narcissism feels a little off the chain, it's probably because you're feeling like something's got you so deep in the mud. So deep in the mud. And I know you're projecting yourself, not you necessarily, universal you. Who's ever watching this, if it feels really like, oh my God, like I know it's because you're hurting. I am not talking about like people who have some kind of, you know, neurological condition that would look like psychopathy and just don't care and just will never have
Yeah.
empathy. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm not. And narcissism, it's not a clinical, it's not a diagnosis. NPD is a diagnosis that shouldn't even exist.
A lot of these diagnoses shouldn't even exist. But anyway.
Oh, the DSM is not. I'm okay. I don't want to get.
That's a whole nother live. You'll have to.
I don't want to get recorded. So
I don't want
I
you
need
to
to prepare.
be licensed.
I need to prepare for that one.
Yeah, you don't need to be licensed.
No, I mean, no, I don't. I do not. But that's a whole nother conversation.
There's a comment here. Can I read this to you?
Yeah, of course.
It says for us to check out Dr. Ramani for some clarification about the spectrum of narcissist traits and malignant narcissistic brain disordered people. Narcissists do not wonder if they are narcissists.
Right. So honestly, there's like a whole slew of like experts and educators and all the things who are there. I mean, look, no shade to anybody, but they're all basically saying it's the same thing, but in different like different packaging and different packaging. But they're all sort of regurgitating the works of Sam Vaknin, who he's a self-proclaimed.
He's a self-proclaimed
NPD.
So
he coined the term narcissistic abuse back in 1995, I believe.
You can find some of his old YouTube videos.
Yeah, as well as like flying monkeys and things like that. So it's all his work, and then everybody just sort of like he was the first to have like a group, an online forum, and all this stuff. And then all these different people came in after and just sort of regurgitated and rebranded all of that. But they don't. But Sam Vaknin, as well as all these other people, they I lost my train of thought. They basically cherry pick, right? So if you look at the way like psychoanalysts talk about narcissism, they really use the term narcissistic abuse, first of all, because they're not part of this whole thing. They talk about narcissism, but they talk about it more like they'll acknowledge our collective narcissism, right? Like these other folks are grifty. Some of them are probably well-meaning, but they talk about narcissism, narcissistic abuse more from like just in all this sort of same way, and they cherry pick what they want to say, which is what people kind of want to hear. But psychoanalysts who have been looking at narcissism, like Eric Fromm comes to mind. He talks about like nationalism as narcissism, as an example of group narcissism, or things like this, and our kind of normative group narcissism we can get into, thinking our group is better than someone else's group. So they acknowledge the systems. In fact, like most of the white, like the really well-renowned, like white trauma, white experts and educators on relational abuse and trauma, they all talk about systems. They all talk about systemic oppression. The only place, like healing space or whatever, for survivors where you can not be quote unquote burdened by having to sort of examine your own biases, negative biases, or talk about systemic oppression, or watch your language, right? To not be offensive and oppressive to, marginalized folks. The only place you can do that without having to do all that is the narcissistic abuse industrial complex, because none of them ever talk about systems ever. Like ever. You won't see words like intersectionality by any of the experts and educators on narcissistic abuse.
That's something that I have to stick a pin in. We need to come back to that conversation because I have to go teach a class. But that is something to think about, y'all. You see all these people talking about narcissism, but you don't see them talking about liberation and of intersectionality.
Never. never,
I want us to think about that when Tanya will be back again and we'll finish off.
If you are a marginalized person, I'm queer. I didn't say that yet. But when I was in that space trying to heal from stuff that was done to me or that I experienced, I had to pretend I mattered. I had to pretend that what they were saying applied to me because they never mentioned me.
So next time, y'all, when Tanya's coming back, here's your homework, is to go and check out videos around narcissism and see if they talk about the social justice frameworks.
And in the backs of the books, the best-selling books, in the references, you won't see any people of the global majority experts on relational abuse and trauma. And if you do see their name, it's a little epigraph, like one of those, a little sentence, a wise sentence at the top of the chapter. Never discussed in the body of the work.
It's something to think about. All right, Tanya.
Anyway, I'm done.
This was great. We're going to have to do this again. I want to say thank you all for watching live, and Tanya will get back on here so we can finish the conversation.
Thanks, Wade.
All right. Thank you all so much for watching that conversation with Tanya. I hope that it brought something to your awareness when it comes to the conversations around narcissism. What I appreciated about the end is Tanya naming that most people who talk about narcissism aren't talking about narcissism and liberation. It's just narcissism. And that's a lot to think about when we consider what liberation actually means and how we can kind of consider these deeper conversations. For those of you who are watching or just now tuning in, this is our Heal Your Way Forward Live-a-thon for collective liberation. We are raising funds for the Heal Your Way Forward collective. It is Live-a-thon after dark. We are at 6% of our goal. We have 12 days left for this first leg of our fundraiser, and we are looking to actually just call in what it is that we are working for. This first leg of our fundraiser will support us in securing our staff, as well as getting our insurance started so that we can be insured. The easiest way to get to the link is go to healyourwayforward.org, which is our homepage of our website, and you can choose the button to either donate or become a member. By becoming a recurring member, your membership also helps us offset costs and supports our community of care campaigns as well. Super excited to be kicking off the year, bringing in this new energy, making sure that my nervous system is excited and settled, and hoping that your nervous system is also excited and settled. And so one of the things I want to do as we're preparing for the end of our live-a-thon tonight is I'm going to go back to our first day, and Michelle led us in a beautiful rain meditation. It was just absolutely phenomenal. But because of what's happening today, instead of the rain meditation, maybe we might have time to do both. I'm actually going to take us through the grief practice that Johanna led us through a couple of days ago. So if you don't mind just giving me a chance to go ahead and pull that up so that we can give you guys something to consider, something to think about when we think about the moment that we're in right now, because we are in a moment in history where history seems to be repeating itself, where history is the teacher, but then history is also just innate right now. And so one of the recommendations I gave to some folks today is just to use in our collective direct compassionate communication to notate your body sensations, observations, beliefs, feelings, needs, and requests of yourself, and use that to get to the core of what you can do to take care of yourself in this moment. And on TikTok, I was able to share the information of tapping into that body and moving your body so you can move the energy, because to be bombarded with information, to know that empire is going to empire, and to know the reason why. We know when our government is looking for resources, like it's just textbook. And it's unfortunate that it's happening now in real time. But now that we know, and we've always known. But it's an embodied remembrance, and it's something to grieve about. And so in this conversation, Johanna takes us through a grief and joy practice. And I think that this is the perfect video for the moment that we're in as we are grieving empire doing what empire's doing. So let's go ahead and watch this video with Johanna. She'll move us through the grief and joy practice. Hopefully we can get through it for the rest of the evening together. And then I'll come back and close, and I will just celebrate that we showed up today and that we did just enough for today in hopes for a better tomorrow as a collective. So let's enjoy this conversation with Johanna. For your monthly donations help sustain our collective.
This is what we've been doing all day yesterday, kicking off this morning if you're on the West Coast. Thank you, Jen. And I know that I joined up earlier this morning just to make sure I was in community and not missing out on anything. So see if I can, as I'm waiting to have some folks join the chat. Okay, and Sarah says that she struggles with journaling, but is appreciating the time to tune into her body deeper. Thank you for sharing, Sarah. Give another minute or so for if anybody else wants to share.
Our sound went out.
Okay. Thanks, Jen. I know I'm not the only one who starts talking when they're muted, but dang it, every single time. So wrap up your final thoughts if you haven't already. And I'm going to share that I have a lot of grief in my body. This past year was a doozy. And I think that's actually part of the reason why, if not the whole reason why, I ended up with this massive sinus infection as the year closed out. Because I was fine, and then just 2:00 yesterday morning, woke up with my face hurts. My husband usually takes the opportunity to say, well, it's killing me, in jest. But one of the things that I'm grieving is the loss of the parents of one of my closest friends. Both of her parents died within about a 5-month period, which is not uncommon in elders who've been together for 60 years. And it brought up other grief for me because I do not have the kind of parents that one would choose to grieve for when they pass. And I know they did their level best with the skills they had. But this husband and wife were like my surrogate parents. So it was a lot. And feeling it, like I said, in my head, in my sinuses, and in my heart. And what it's inviting me to know or do is to reach out more consistently with my friend. She lives in Europe. So we don't get the opportunity to talk as often as we'd both like, but that is something that I can really joyfully do. So I'm really curious what these three questions might have brought up for other people. Again, you can share it in the chat and I will read it out loud for you. I think it looks like the chats are also being posted at the bottom of the video feed. And I invite you now to lean into this a little bit. As I said at the top of the hour, whiteness pushes back against grief. It doesn't allow us to really feel that. So don't let whiteness win. Brittany says, I'm grieving what feels like constant loss of people I care about. Yeah. And Sarah says, I'm sure it's common for this year, grieving a general loss of a sense of security, of feeling like I know my place in my sphere. Whew, I can relate to that one, Sarah. Thank you both for sharing. I'm going to give it a few more minutes, just in case there are other shares bubbling up, wanting to be witnessed. I'm also grieving the feeling that I'm incapable of showing up and being present where I yearn to be. I think I know for myself, my ability to be present ebbs and flows. My ability to show up in community ebbs and flows. And that's okay. In fact, it's absolutely normal. We can grieve when we're feeling the lack and celebrate when we're noticing more capacity. And from Brittany, I've been grieving the continued decline of my body functioning as it once did due to autoimmune illness and becoming less responsive to treatment. Thank you for sharing, Brittany. That kind of grieving, I think, gets to us at an identity level. hits really hard. And Brittany says, most importantly, I feel like this is inviting me to know that I am still here and can learn how to show up differently. I don't have to disappear. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Let's see if I can get clever. I think I can. So we're going to shift into the joy part of it. I'm going to share some music. So, and this is an invitation to get up and move your body if that's accessible for you. Or just listen and enjoy for a couple of minutes here. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Sorry about that. All right.
Johanna, we are not able to hear. Can you try sharing again and making sure you click the share tab audio when you do that? I'm going to remove that.
Hold on 1 sec. Okay, was that not sharing?
We could see the screen, but not the audio. We couldn't hear.
Oh, okay. And what's the fix for that?
Well, let me just, if you can drop me the link, I'll do it for you.
Oh,
that's probably the easiest way to do it.
You are the best.
Wherever you want to put that up, just tell me where to look.
I'm gonna put it in our chat between the studio chat.
Perfect.
Thank you.
You got it. You got it. All right. Give me 1 sec here.
I'm sorry, we're probably gonna have to watch that bit of the commercial again.
Just confirming you're able to hear now?
I can't hear it.
Oh, interesting. We got this. We got this. That's so interesting. Let's try one more time. Well, yeah, let's do it. Oh, oh, friends. Poor Johanna. If you can hear me, Johanna, come back. Come back. We'll play some music while we wait for her. Here we go. Here we go.
I don't on the flip side, your man is standing right there, bro. Head to the back, so I can get at you. Instead of just the truth, I think I can have I see you down a couple drinks, now that shit. I'm not gonna jump on it. I'll say on it to the next song. But in that work, cause now don't win. You make me wanna strip you down. Making sure he's not so bad. Really wanna say you down. Whoa, but now. Oh, night, yeah, cause so cold. I want your body, yeah, yeah. Whoa, just smile, yeah. Whoa, yeah. I want you like this. I really want you like this. Yeah.
Thank you, Jen. Appreciate you. All right, I could feel that like really moving energy through my body, even though I wasn't moving my body too much. So hope y'all experience something good with that as well. I'm gonna try to sit so that I'm blocking the bright light shining on my background here. All right, so now as we shift to joy, no problem, Jen. We're gonna ask those same 3 questions. Let's see if I can post them now. What is bringing you joy? The second question is, where do you feel it in your body? And the third is, what is it inviting you to know and or do? And whoops, it's time to change my handle on YouTube. So what is bringing you joy? Where do you feel it in your body? And what is it inviting you to know or do? And again, we'll have about 5 more minutes to 5 or 6 minutes to tune into your body and notice what's bringing you joy. You can journal on this or just share it in the chat. It looks like Benjamin said singing or creating music with friends and strangers brings me joy and centers me. Thanks for sharing. And Benjamin saying, I feel it along the back of my spine. And it's inviting me to bring more people into that space to share the joy. Yes, please, Benjamin. We'd love to hear some music from you, or maybe even co-create it together. And then Benjamin says, I'm involved with communal singing that is guttural and raw, shape note singing. I love that. No perfect voice needed. Just make a noise and feel it in your soul. That I could get behind. Thanks for sharing, Benjamin. When you're tuning into where you feel it in your body, let that kind of roam free and see where it takes you. Hopefully that will make sense. But okay, so you can wrap up your final thoughts there. And I will go first. I'll share. What brings me joy lately is being with little kids. I nanny for a 2.5-year-old girl part-time, a couple days a week. And I've recently started a substitute teaching for like kindergarten and first grade, sometimes second grade, but it just, they are just pure joy and love and chaos and mayhem. And it's so fun. And it feels like I can feel the joy like bubbling up in my chest, in my heart, like seltzer bubbles or champagne bubbles. And when I really tune into that, it feels really expansive. And it just, the joy feeds into itself. And I feel it more and more. So I try to remember to do that all the time. And it's inviting me to remember that purity still exists in me. And even though I have a tendency to take myself too seriously, I have a lot more fun when I don't. And when I can just get into that place of play. With whether it's the 2.5-year-old or a class full of kindergartners or first graders, just those are just some amazing times. I'm curious who else would like to share. Thank you, Benjamin, for already sharing. And then Jen said she loves shape note singing, especially with Morris dancers. And she's excited for the 12th night party with them this Saturday, which I read as 12th night poetry the first time I read that. And I got all excited because I love poetry too. But a singing party. Who else would like to share? Brittany says, this whole live-a-thon is bringing me joy. I feel it in the openness of my heart and tugging at the smile it brings. It's inviting me to relearn how to be present in ways that honor my body's needs as well as what's important to me. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Brittany. I'm glad this live-a-thon is bringing you joy. Me too. I love this community. And Benjamin says, yes, 12th night party coming up. I don't know how to say that word, wassail through the town, bless the apple trees, and sing to the ancients around the bonfire. Wow, that sounds amazing. And Sarah says, this time to move slowly, bringing me joy, finding time to reconnect to hobbies I enjoy. And Jen says, yes, Benjamin, that's the vibe I'll be participating in. And how cool we have this in common. Waffle, not wassail. I just looked up how to pronounce it. One of those words that I knew what it meant from reading books, but had never heard anybody say it. You know, there's something I want to say about joy too. Sorry, I keep forgetting to block that light. Don't wait for the big things that bring you huge amounts of joy. See if you can find something, even if it's something really small, every day to help you tap into that joy, because joy, love, gratitude, and abundance all resonate at the same energy. And we can't, some of us don't always feel love. Sometimes it's pretty hard to connect to abundance. But we can always find something small to be grateful for and something to be joyful about. Benjamin agrees with Sarah. Reconnecting with hobbies is very important. Getting back into making ridiculous costumes just for the fun of it. Mardi Gras season is upon us. Benjamin, I hope you'll share some pictures with the community when you make some. Yeah, Sarah was really mentioning a quiet kind of joy. The time to, this time of year, a lot of people have time off for the holidays. And that might not seem like a big deal, but just to reconnect to something you enjoy doing, or having the time to read that book that's been on your shelf for 6 months or whatever it is. So again, don't wait on joy. Let it come in the small moments, the quiet moments. I'm going to give another plug now to join. Thank you for joining our live-a-thon, and let's go to give.socialgoodfund.org/healforward26. You can either donate one time or join us in the collective. It is a beautiful, beautiful space. And this past year, was absolutely one of the highlights of what was a tough year. And just being in community with people who were all in it for the liberation and in it for celebrating each other, our small successes, being there for each other with life's disappointments, just really becoming free together. Such a beautiful, beautiful space. Thinking of small joys, this morning I woke up to 6 inches of snow on the ground when we were supposed to get dusting to 1 inch. And as I went out to shovel a path for my small dog, I was so happy that the snow was light and fluffy. Could have been that heavy, wet, sloggy stuff, but nope. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. The little things to be grateful for, to feel joyful about. They really help us connect to what's the truth of who we really are. So let's, as we wrap this session up, let's turn to our body one more time and thank it for its wisdom. I thank my body for sharing the truth with me, for allowing me to access grief, and for allowing me to access joy. And for allowing that joy sometimes has to look differently than it used to. And we can both grieve that and appreciate what we have now. May you all find more joy than grief in this coming year, 2026 and beyond. And I'll very much look forward to seeing you in the collective. Thank you again for donating, for sharing, for joining the community. I'm going to see if I can find what's up next.
Thank you, Johanna. That was beautiful. It's been a nice slow morning, and I love just the gentle ease into the new year that was, especially followed by Maisha slowing us down too. So, as our content will continue all day, we're in a break right now. So what will happen after the break? I'm looking also for our schedule. I have so many tabs open, it's not even funny. Here, I pull it up here. I know I shared it to my something here. There we go. So Mitzi will be coming up. It's doing another intention setting movement, similar as to yesterday, but of course very different always, as she even mentioned it would be. So we're gonna break here for a little bit, and when Mitzi's ready, hopefully she'll be in our break room or our backstage here, and you'll see her come on. But for now, I'm gonna put on a little pre-recorded stuff for you, and we'll see you after the break. Thanks
Awesome.
again, Johanna.
My pleasure. And I'll see you with Mitzi. Bye.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, friends, give me one sec here.
The great ancestor, bell hooks, tells us in All About Love. Rarely, if ever, is healing.
All right, y'all. I have to stop that because if we watch that on this live, it actually cuts off the signal. So grateful for you guys for tuning in to tonight's live-a-thon session. It is 8:46, and we're going to go ahead and call it a night and just say thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back again tomorrow for tomorrow's fundraiser. I want to say thank you to whoever just donated tonight. Thank you, Carol, for your donation this evening. You have taken our fundraiser. Let's share the screen because this is super exciting. Where is the... What amazing. We are at $3,000. Look at us. Oh, wow. Thank you, Carol. We're at $3,000. We are getting there. We said 3,500 by Monday. So much joy, so much hope, so much excitement. Thank you all so much for your giving, for sharing the link, for telling your friends, hoping to have some scripts that we'll email out to you all to email your friends to give. This is Collective Liberation. This is us healing our way forward together. Thank you for tuning in to our live-a-thon after dark. We will be back tomorrow morning with another hour at live-a-thon, and again tomorrow afternoon and probably in the evening. So thank you guys for all the ways that you support the work of Check Your Privilege, Heal Your Way Forward, me, Maisha T. Hill, and the Heal Your Way Forward team. What a beautiful way to end the night. I just want to say thank you again. We're going to get there. Slow and steady wins the race, friends. And I hope you all have a beautiful day, evening, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Peace out. Thank you so much.